Good afternoon. I'm Morgan Young in the WFAA newsroom, where we are closely monitoring the travel impact from the government shutdown. We will get you back to regular programming in a little bit, but we do want to update you on what's happening at dozens of airports across the country. It is day 38 of the government shutdown, and the FAA has ordered a reduction in flight capacity by 10% at 4 major airports across the country, including DFW and Love Field. There have been hundreds of cancellations today. American Airlines alone has canceled more than 200 flights. United Airlines says it plans to cancel fewer than 200 flights each day through Sunday and is posting a list of those cancellations online. Meanwhile, the Senate is holding a vote on a spending bill for a 15th time that would reopen the government. You could see them there in their chambers. We believe that vote is actually happening now. We see someone up speaking there, and we've been monitoring this situation for the past few minutes. A vote has not been taken yet, but we hear lawmakers really making their case here. Democratic lawmakers really pushing for the healthcare situation to be addressed. We know that has been a really big point of contention between Democrats and Republicans in this situation. So, for context, this same bill has failed to pass 14 times. That's why we are where we are right now. Democrats say they will not vote yes to end this shutdown until health care cuts are addressed, and leaders seem to be echoing that message today. So we will, of course, stay on top of that. And, looking at the impact in our area, we actually sent our transportation reporter, Janelle Ford, on several flights across Texas today to see in real time the impact of this shutdown. She started at DFW early this morning, then hopped on a plane to Houston and is currently in San Antonio and will make it back to Dallas later this afternoon. She has been updating her experience across TikTok and Instagram all day, even encountering some delays so far. So I want to check in with Janelle in San Antonio now, if we can. Janelle, I know the last time I spoke to you, you were in Houston. You had dealt with some delays. You were on your way to San Antonio. How has that journey been for you?
Let me tell you, I think that we got out of Houston just in time. Our flight from Houston to San Antonio was a United Airlines flight. We actually got to San Antonio a little bit earlier, a little bit before schedule. And I remember checking on FlightAware as soon as I landed and seeing that Houston was dealing with a lot of delays. So we got out just in time, but it's just something that people across the country are dealing as these 40 airports, the 40 busiest airports in the country, are being impacted by these FAA cuts that just rolled out. So I was telling you this a little earlier, but it's a gradual rollout. So yes, the goal is to eventually get to that 10% next Friday. But starting today, they started at 4% across those 40 airports, Morgan.
And, I want to ask you, because at this point now, you've been at DFW, you've been in Houston and then the San Antonio airport. Are you seeing any similarities, any differences? I know you were talking about, the TSA lines maybe not being such an issue, but just kind of maybe seeing some of that impact once you get past them. What have you seen at these different spots you've been in?
So let me tell you, out of all of the airports that I am flying through today, I thought that Houston Bush was going to be the biggest nightmare, just because we've been reporting on them being a nightmare all this week. Earlier this week, TSA checkpoint lines exceeding 3 hours just because they only have 2 checkpoints open because of those staffing shortages. Fortunately, today I was able to breeze through security. I actually went through in Terminal E, which is their international terminal. And typically, TSA would be pretty packed on a Friday. This is a common travel day, but that's not what I'm seeing. When I got to San Antonio, the way this airport is set up, you actually have to leave security if you are flying on, we came in on United. If you fly on United, American, and you're flying out on Southwest, you have to leave security and go through security in a different terminal. So that's what I did today. And it only took me 7 minutes to get through security, general security, not using my pre-check, when I went through the airport here in San Antonio as well.
And I've been following your social media posts. I saw when you were on the plane and showing some orange juice and showing the refreshments. And you were talking about this when we checked in with you at midday. I mean, just the morale of the airline workers, of the different people who are there, of the customers who, may be frustrated, but understand that this is a tough situation for all. Are you just kind of seeing that continuous, just kind of, for lack of a better word, decent vibe in a really tough situation?
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of consideration. I mentioned this earlier, going through the TSA checkpoint lines, people are thanking TSA officers for being there, knowing that they're not being paid. Airlines stepping in when those frustrations could creep in, like on that first flight I was on where we saw delays. American Airlines did something they were bringing water and orange juice through the coach cabin to give to passengers while we deal with these delays. So I think that everybody is very cognizant of the situation. Everyone really realizes how much of this is out of everyone's control, except those in Congress. And I think that is kind of what's guiding the way that this is playing out here today.
And I know you. I think I hear an announcement being made. I know you've got so much more to do, but I do have one more question for you. And one of the things that makes you such an expert in the space, Janelle, is that you study this, you have relationships with the different players in this, and you travel quite a bit. So I know you're getting a lot of information from the airlines and from the airports. And what would you say is just the general message? I know this is a hard situation for everyone across the board, but the general message you're hearing from the folks that you have those relationships with about this situation.
I think the airlines and the airports, because I talked to both of them yesterday, are really trying to figure this out. You have to remember the airlines got this directive and had about 48 hours to put together which which flights they were going to cut, and then roll that out to passengers and see really how that's going to work with passengers and think about the impacts on passengers as well. Because we know this, when you cancel flights in one place, it's a trickle down effect because you have to worry about flight scheduling, you have to worry about planes being where they're supposed to be, crew being where they're supposed to be, and then of course you have to worry about your travelers, your customers. The airport's still kind of dealing with the same thing because they're in limbo because they don't have control over these TSA agents, nor do they have control over the air traffic controllers. So everyone is doing the best they can to make this situation not sting as much. And I think that that's the big point that I would drive across. And then when talking to the airlines and talking to the airports, they're just really urging people to be aware of the situation, have some patience and understanding, and again, realize that this isn't on them. They have little control over how this is rolling out. And ultimately, lawmakers are going to have to, get their act together.
Such good perspective. And before we let you go, Janelle, do you have one flight left and then you're coming home? Is that the plan?
Yes, last flight, last airline. So I am flying from San Antonio back to Dallas Love Field on Southwest. As of right now, our flight appears to be on time, but I heard the gate agents talking to some customers who are actually already seeing some delays from their flights when they land in Love Field and going to wherever else they're going.
All right, well, we know that you will keep us up to date. If you are not following Janelle on her social media accounts, you absolutely should. Thank you for monitoring this for us today, spending your day this way. It is so valuable. So we will check back in with you in a bit, Janelle. Thank you. And at this time, I want to send you to my colleague, Scoop Jefferson, who's actually on the ground at DFW International Airport, monitoring conditions there. Scoop, good afternoon. What are you seeing?
Good afternoon, Morgan. As you know, the directive to reduce flights includes asking that to be done at some of the busiest airports in the country. DFW, no doubt, on that list of the airports that are reducing the flights. DFW right now is under a departure delay that's in place. The average delay is about 15 minutes, but that delay time is increasing, all because of staffing shortages. American Airlines, you see behind me, they say that most travelers will not be impacted by the cancellation flights, and they will try to actually contact their passengers ahead of time before their scheduled flight, to let them know, hey, your flight is canceled. You need to make either a different flight or other travel arrangements. I'm going to step out of the way and give you a look at what's happening here behind me at the American Airlines counter. Now, the FAA reports that the top flight cancellations here at DFW Airport, they involve American Airlines. They have actually 221 flights canceled for today. United Airlines comes in second with 184, and then Delta Airlines has 173 flights that have been canceled. And again, they're telling people before you head to the airport, make a telephone call to make sure your flight is still a go. Now, what I also learned from the FAA and from the airlines that we've been communicating with, some of the flights, or most of the flights that are being canceled or delayed, they are these smaller aircrafts, the charter airplanes. I think close to 200 of them are the smaller airplanes. And that's why American Airlines feel comfortable saying that most of their travelers will not be impacted by the delays themselves. I also talked with a representative for the pilots unit for American Airlines. They are urging the government to end the shutdown as soon as possible, because a lot of their pilots, they've actually put them on reserve for the holiday travel season, but some of those pilots that were expected to be coming in and helping out during the holiday travel season, they're actually working now. So we're seeing this may be the first day of the reduced flights, but the pilots union says it's just going to get worse from here if the government shutdown continues much longer. Morgan?
Scoop, that is such good perspective when you talk about the specific aircrafts and hearing from the pilots union. We see the ticket counter for American right behind you, and I think we saw some video of the TSA lines. Are you seeing large crowds going through security? And when you guys were arriving there, how would you say the crowds would compare to maybe a typical Friday?
Yeah, it's a typical Friday here at DFW. When we got here, we were checking out the parking lot. There's still plenty of parking. People are very relaxed. No one's rushed, or there's no one anxious that we're flying. I was out here yesterday and talked to several travelers. They were more concerned. After leaving, they were more concerned about their return flights. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen next month? Those are some of the biggest concerns. And a lot of people are concerned who have made travel plans for the holidays. Will they be able to have those flights to go see their family members? Will their family members make it into DFW because of the ongoing government shutdown and the impact that it's going to have on flights to come? We started with just 4%, which is an average of 200 and a little bit more than 200 flights between now and Monday being canceled. So once we start increasing those reduced flights, again, more people will be impacted. Morgan?
It is such a precious time for travel. Scoop Jefferson reporting from DFW International. Thank you for that. And make sure you stick with us on WFAA Plus for the latest developments on this government shutdown. We will have extensive coverage coming up on WFAA News at 4. For now, we will send you back to Judge Mathis.